Thanks to the support as a channel member, Chris Graves. Boys and girls, after a dominant title-winning season in League 2, we've finally made it to the third tier, and we've actually got money to spend for the first time. This save has just taken a twist. Hello and welcome to part 101 of Born in the USA, what I'm referring to as a rebirth for the series. It's only taken us 100 episodes to get to this point, but we're in Tier 3, League 1, and we have money to spend. If we look at the finances before getting into this transfer special and review of the season, you'll see there's £100,000 in the bank. We're regularly £1 million overdrawn, so for there to be money in the bank is lovely. We've got a transfer budget. We've never had one of those before. That's lovely. And we're starting a transfer window, having already renewed contracts of everybody we want to stay. And there's £4,000 a week spare in our wage budget. It's only probably 2 or 3 seasons ago that our entire wage budget was £4,000 a week. So to have that spare with a team that's already finished on 107 points in League 2, and they're all here next year, so we can only improve that team. It is exciting times. But before we get into the transfers, as ever, we're going to do the season review just to show you how we got to this point. One of the ways we got to this point is we're scoring an absolute ton of goals, breaking our own record for goals in a season in League 2. 124 last season. This year, 125 goals. We're certainly a goal-scoring team. This is our all-time best 11 now. Still some majority of these are faces from the past. In fact, looking at that, there is nobody from the present team who were in our all-time best 11, which I guess partly shows just how much of a rebuild we've done over the last couple of seasons, but does suggest that this is probably going to get some significant changes to it over the next few years. How you can't have the likes of Johnson and Wright in up front, ahead of Stone for sure. I mean, Hernandez is probably going to be there forevermore because of what he did. But the likes of Briones, Llewellyn, Kotelyarov, I've got to believe these guys are not going to be much longer for this team. You can see Johnny Walker, Johnson, there's a Takada, there's a few of these guys who've made it onto the substitutes bench now. Captain Morgan in there as well. They'll push through into the first team for the all-time best 11 before too long. But let's jump into the season review because it was an excellent season for us. Why can't I press the right buttons? There we go. Signing of the season, of course, has gone to Tristan Wright, who's come in on a free transfer. 51 goals from 48 games. We thought Kevin Johnson from last year would never be beaten. Well, we've managed to go even better. 51 goals, 23 assists. So 74 goal contributions from 48 matches. They are Jorge Hernandez numbers. I don't know if he ever got quite that high. A 7.87 average rating as well across 48 games. I would like to think that man is probably going to be good enough to step up to the next level, but it shows just how good last summer's signings were. There's so many of them have played as many games as they have. Of course, Robinson in on loan, who was here on loan the year before as well, but 42 goal contributions from him is massive. He's back on loan for this coming season as well. De La Fuente coming in at the back. We paid him a lot of money. We took a big risk on Dan De La Fuente, but he's given us a 7.18, 10 goals as well from centre-back. I think that's probably proven to be worth the risk. As you saw, we only scored 1 more goal this year compared to last year, but the difference between this team and that team is that we've conceded far fewer goals. And bringing in the likes of De La Fuente, Martin, well, only played half the games, averaged a 7.16 when he played. Oren O'Rourke playing a full season, major contributor at the back. Vakalenko now here permanently, weighing in with 44 games. Even Lindley, 31 games in midfield. We had a very, very productive transfer window last summer, and now we need to do it all over again. The board, we're looking for mid-table. We finished first at over 2,000 average attendance for the first time ever. And as you can see, we absolutely dominated that league. A goal difference of 79 shows just how dominant we were. You got to believe we're in with a chance of going back to back. Not that we've ever done it before, but if there was ever going to be a time, we seem to be set up for it now. because we've got a great team. None of them are leaving, and now we can add to them. Our reputation is still only 1.5 stars. Money in general is still not great. Obviously, we've had our debts cleared, but we do now have a debt consolidation loan that we have to pay out each month. But you can see some of these numbers are finally starting to increase. We doubled our sponsorship income last year. 66,000 in sponsorship for the year is still peanuts, really. That's like 4 weeks of our wage budget. It's not really making a difference. Likewise, corporate and hospitality at 10 grand. Yes, it's an increase, but it doesn't cover 1 week's wages. We got 100 grand of competition prize money because of that cup run we went on this year. And our match day revenue is increased as well because we've had the cup run and just progressed as a team, won more matches, got ourselves promoted. We sold over 1,000 shirts, which is delightful. And Takada, Wright and Johnson, the top 3 sellers, I think you'd probably expect it to be those 3, not necessarily in that order, but they're the 3 superstar strikers that we've got. Our team of the year then has Johnny Walker in goal, a back four of O'Rourke, Feliz, De La Fuente and Vakilenko, Claudivanio and Lindley in midfield, Rodriguez and Robinson out wide, Wright and Takada up front. The great thing about this Bourne team now is that all 11 of those are here next year. We've never had that before. And also there's probably another 5 or 6 names you could look at and think they're a little bit unlucky not to be in the team of the year. We actually have a squad now. Awards-wise, you can see I won quite a few Manager of the Month awards. I assume Head Coach of the Year is on its way to me at some point as well. I'm 50 years old now in game. That's horrific. Club awards, Tristan Wright winning Fans Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, Signing of the Season, Top Goal Scorer, Most Assists, Highest Average Rating. Pretty good season for Tristan Wright. Takada was in there with Goal of the Season, went to Takada, and Most Pass Completion, Rob Lindley in midfield. And that doesn't surprise me at all because he was excellent. Takada won the League 2 Player of the Year. And we've had some club records broken. Tristan Wright, 44 goals, is the most league goals in a season ever by a Bourne player, breaking Jorge Hernandez's previous record. He also got 5 goals in a game, which is a club record and a club league record as well. So Tristan Wright probably will never break the all-time record goal scoring of Hernandez. He's got over 200 league goals for us. Wright would have to play for us into the Premier League to get anywhere near that. Maybe he will. But I suspect he probably won't. But he's certainly setting himself a few records along the way. Is there anything more on here we need to check in on before we jump into transfers? The club are looking for me to repair financial damage. I thought that had already been done. I can't exactly pay this loan off. I hope they don't expect me to pay that loan off. Even the club financial projection, weirdly, is now looking positive. I don't know if there's just a lot more prize money or TV revenue that kicks in at this stage. But for the first time ever, I mean, this is projecting for us to make £1 million profit a season. I'm not really sure where that's coming from. Turnover not expected to change massive. I don't understand these numbers. I don't know where that projection is coming from. I think we'll assume the projection is nonsense. And the important thing is they're looking for a mid-table finish in League One. I think that is definitely doable. Our way of doing business throughout this save is when you get a promotion, you consolidate for a year, you then get promoted the next year. We've never actually still never finished below 5th place in any league that we've been in. 5th place in League 2, first time of asking, and also League 2. Oh, that was the National League 2 and then actual League 2. Those 2 5th place finishes are the 2 lowest finishes we've ever had. Oh, look, we did do back-to-back promotions then. We did it once. It's so long ago, I've forgotten it. But we generally do go, apart from the 3 years in the Central Premier League, where we were very unlucky. That's when the playoff curse started. But we usually go and challenge for playoffs, bottle the playoffs, and then the next year win the league. So I'm expecting a top 5 finish. It would be very unusual for us to not get that top 5 finish, bottle the playoffs, year after, win League One. That's how we do things. Yes, we're going to finish mid-table. The players seem happy about that. Interesting that the board and the players all seem happy to go for mid-table, because when we got promoted to League 2, it was very much battle bravely against relegation. So we're obviously in better shape for this promotion than we ever were for that one. If we look at the team, this is what I was telling you about everybody being tied down to contracts who would want to be tied down. Aguilar is the one who isn't. He only played 16 games. We're probably going to let McJanet go as well. Claudivania, I think, joins us permanently. He does. So his loan expires and then joins us permanently. Everyone else is going to be here next year. There's a few guys towards the bottom of the ability pile that we might look to move on if we can find replacements for him. The likes of Stackhouse, Sieber, maybe even Takada. I think that would be a little bit harsh because he's still makes a great contribution when he plays, although Robinson did push him out of the team in the second half of that season and start playing up front alongside Wright ahead of him. Well, you can see Takada was up front right at the end of the season. But if we look at where we need to strengthen, we've never really been in a position to make these kind of decisions before. It looks like definitely we're looking at a central midfielder. We've only really got Lindley, Padilla. Claudivanio, for some reason, isn't showing on here. We don't want to hide players. There you go. Claudivanio adds into that list. But even so, Wright, I think, is probably one that moves on. That's not up front Wright. This is midfield Wright. We probably bin him off. Aguilar and McJanet are leaving as well. So we probably need a left winger, a central midfielder. I think we're probably all right up front with Wright, Robinson, Takada and Johnson. We could probably do with another centre-back. Captain Morgan, I don't think is ready to make the step up. He really didn't look the part in League Two this year. So I think we'd go with De La Fuente, Phillies, Martin and a new boy. O'Rourke is fine for left back. I think O'Rourke is in for next year as well. He is. Likewise, Robinson. Let's just double check. He is. Those loans are confirmed to be extended. We could probably do with an out-and-out right back. I don't really want to be playing Phillies out there. Vakulenko only showing us 2.5 stars now. Johnny Walker's going from strength to strength in goal, though doesn't really have much of a backup. So maybe a backup keeper. But it looks like the area we really need to strengthen is midfield, central midfield, wide. There's going to be business done, boys and girls. And of course, as ever, we're going to be looking for those bargains being released by the Premier League clubs, the Championship clubs, who maybe aren't quite ready to jump straight into our team, but have got that 5-star potential and can break into the team as the season goes on. Rob Lindley is an example of that from this year just gone. Signed him purely off the back of his potential with no real plan to use him straight away. But he ended up starting 28 games. I know the average rating brigade will say, he only got a 6.65. We watch the matches. And when we watch the matches, we see how good he is and what a contribution he makes. And when you look at the amount of clubs who are in for him, you realise he clearly has something about him at only 19 years old. So more players in that kind of mould. I guess Wright goes into that mould as well. We didn't sign him with the intention to push Johnson straight out of the team. Johnson's injury at the start of the season let Wright in, and he never let up, never gave his spot in the team up. But more of those kind of young and hungry players now. We're finally in a position to be a bit more selective. We're not desperate for anything, so we can go and get some real gems, hopefully. So as usual, when we're in a position where we can go for the Premier League youngsters, we wait for the 1st of July because that's when you get your Premier League youngsters. So we're through to the 1st of July. There's a little bit of business that's gone on off camera. Dirk Sieber has gone to De Anza Force for £7,000. Not a bad piece of business, really. Probably didn't need to bring him in permanently last summer. He'd lost his place when he was here on loan to O'Rourke. But if memory serves, we actually brought O'Rourke in on loan after we'd already agreed to sign Sieber permanently. So he was a victim of circumstance because we found someone even better than him. But we have brought a few players in. Tommy Slater is a young striker who can play out wide as well, 19 years old, 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. He's one of those Premier League youngsters we were talking about, come in from Charlotte. He was on loan at Carolina last year in League Two, 23 goals and 13 assists in League Two last year, and he was available on a free transfer. Now, for a 19-year-old who's already done that in a league we've just won, it seemed like a no-brainer to bring him in on a free transfer at £150 a week. So that's exactly what we've done. He's actually only the 6th choice striker if we go purely on star rating, but we know he's definitely got the ability because he showed it last year in the league we were playing in. We've also got Al Britt, who's another 19-year-old striker, 2-star current ability, 5-star potential. He's come in from Nashville, again, another one of these Premier League youngsters. He spent all of last year on loan in League One, so the league we're now moving into. Only scored 6 goals, but then he did only start 20 games. And I suspect he probably played more out wide than up front. But either way, he's a youngster who's got experience playing at a higher level than most of our squad. And we've got some decent attacking depth now for sure. We also brought in Isaac Abukasomo, who's a 20-year-old centre-back or right-back. It's an area we needed depth in both positions. I'm a little disappointed he's now only showing us 4-star potential. He was 5-star potential as per my scouts, 2.5-star current ability. I suspect this guy probably isn't going to play very much football for us. This is an example of, he was a Premier League youngster, but then he went to Indy 11 in League One in the Championship, and yeah, he's kind of gone the long way round. He was playing in the National League last year, and I mean, he might be fine. He's still only 20, but I'm less excited about him than the other two. And then we've got our first loan of the season in as well, Michael Gentry, not sure how we say his name, probably not Gentry, a 5'3" midfielder. That's what I'm talking about. But he's on loan from DC United, 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, better than any other central midfielder we've got. And he wants to play in these defensive roles, whether it's as a central midfielder or as a playmaker. The DC United feeder team structure is a confusing one, trying to keep track of who is who. There's this Loudon United. I don't even know how you would say that. There seems to be two versions of that in the database. One in League One, where if we try and pick out what he's actually done, he played a full season in League One last year. 8 goals, 6 assists, 6 man of the matches, and a 7.16 in League One from central midfield. But he also played 23 games for this other version of them that's not in a league. I think this is just a database glitch. I'm assuming. We seem to have DC United under 23s and under 18s. Then you've got the Loudon United senior squad, which is the one that's not. No, this is the one that's in League One. And then, I can't even keep up. I don't even understand. That version's not in a league. And he played a lot for them as well. So somehow, at 20 years old, he's already got 155 professional games under his belt. But some of them are a little bit suspect because he's doing them at the same time as like that year. I don't understand. According to this, he played like 70 games last year, which I don't think is right. But either way, he's got plenty of League One experience under his belt, and he's in. Those signings have only improved what was already a very good squad. Midfield was an area we needed to strengthen. We've very much done that. We've got more firepower up front. I certainly don't think we need any more strikers anytime soon. So I think now we look to strengthen the defence, get a left winger in. We've still got loads of money to do that with, £2,500 a week of spare budget, plus some transfer budget in there as well. And it's 1st of July, which means Premier League youngsters are now available to bring in on free transfers. So we are going to do some trials. We have our first batch of transfers in. I did try and bring in a couple of other players as well, but we're still not quite able to compete financially or reputationally for some of the real top players to come out of the top teams. But we have got 3 players come in key positions. Victor Garcia is a new goalkeeper to compete with Johnny Walker for a starting spot. 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability, basically a Walker clone. We now can have an injury if we need an injury in goal, whereas in the past that would have been disastrous. He's come in from Inter Miami. Alexis Ruiz is a centre-back who can also play out at right-back, 22 years old. 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, would be the best fullback at the club, which is probably what we're going to use him for. Also, best centre-back at the club as well. He's been around a bit over the years. Started at Houston, has played for various Houston feeder teams, went to Cincinnati, and again worked through the feeder teams for them. 121 games across all of those different clubs and feeder clubs in 22 years. In 22 years, in the 5 years or so that he's been a professional as a 22-year-old. We've also got a left back, Joseph Ramirez, 24 years old, 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability, just so that we've got an adequate backup for O'Rourke as well. He's another one who's not quite a Premier League youngster, but you can see he was at the Inter Miami Academy, although he never actually made it into the Inter Miami first team at any point, according to this. But San Antonio felt it was worth spending money on him, and he then spent time out at Pittsburgh and one of their feeder teams. I don't think they are a feeder team, actually. San Diego's nowhere near San Antonio. They've just both got San in the name. But he's come in on a free transfer as well. We've still got a little bit of budget left. We've got players on their way out of the club as well to help free up more budget. And you can see the first one who's gone is Al Britt, who's on nearly £1,000 a week. Atlanta have agreed to pay that £1,000 a week to have him on loan for the season. He wasn't going to be a starter for us this year, even though he's got bundles of potential, but that frees up £1,000 a week for us to then reinvest. And Captain Morgan, Chase Wright, Mark Stackhouse, all hopefully on their way out of the club as well. That'll free up another 1,000, 1,500 or so. We've still got 1,000 left in the budget. And we've got players in on trial at the moment. And we did have a few more in midfield and up front that we'd made offers for, but they've now signed elsewhere. So I think we now dip back in again and try and find another. Shut up, Siri. We now try and. I'm still looking for another central midfielder. We don't want a 30-year-old or a 32-year-old. Or a 33-year-old. I think we need another batch of trialists in. We are close to being finished off for signings now. 22nd of July. Stackhouse has left the club for 21,000. He's gone to Sacramento. Captain Morgan is gone for 10,000 to Reno. Chase Wright's gone to Madison for 7,000. Solon Thomas has gone on loan to Birmingham. Not that one. On loan for the season. So that's freed up a little bit more wage money, and we've used that to bring in 3 more players. Frank Barron or Baron, I guess. What does the little accent? It's just Barron. Frank Barron, our new captain, ladies and gentlemen. 25-year-old centre back, best centre back at the club. Although as a real leader, he's now got poorly blisters, so he isn't training at the moment. But you know me, 6'5" centre back, a little bit older, 25 years old. Quite a lot of experience, played a full season for Greenville in League One last season, got championship experience as well, played for a long time for the Dayton Dutch Lions down in the National Premier as well, but nearly 200 career appearances, the key thing being that full season in League One last year, and with 13 for leadership and being a big centre-back, was always going to be the new captain, new vice captain as well. Andrei Ismailov is a central midfielder who can also play up front. He's a deep line playmaker / deep lying forward. So just a nice creative player, a little bit different from what we've had all along. But if you're watching the home series as well, you'll know my love of the deep lying forward this year. You've seen a lot of it on Twitch as well. We've never really done it very well in this save. But Andrei Ismailov could be the man who does that for me, although I suspect I'm more likely to play him in central midfield because we've got quite a lot of talent up front and less so in central midfield. In fact, let's look at the coach reports in each position. Up front, he'd be our 4th choice striker, central midfield, 2nd choice. So yeah, you're probably much more likely to see him in central midfield. He was on loan at New England Academy in League 2 last season. Previously had loans League 2, League 1. But he's one of these Premier League youngsters that, you know, I like so much. And then lastly, Jonathan Davies is a striker, but really we've signed him to play on the right wing. I'm not likely to start using a false 9 anytime soon. But as a winger or an inside forward on this side, probably a winger because he's right-footed. Good dribbling, not much of a crosser, but quite quick. He's as good or almost as good. Okay, he's not almost as good as Robinson, but he's better than Garcia. If we were paying Garcia a salary, we'd probably send him back. I think Garcia is probably done, which is a shame because he's the man who killed Huyan, but I don't think he's making the step up to League One with us. So Davies can either start on the right wing if we use Robinson up front, or if Robinson plays on the wing, he can be the backup to him. He's another one who's been through the DC United confusion factory, so has played 188 appearances by 20 years old, including 42 appearances for Loudoun United in League One last year, where he scored 15 goals, which is massive. But he also played 19 games for the other Loudoun United last year and only scored once and got a 6.06. So for them lot, he's rubbish. This lot, in this league we're in, 15 goals last year, which is, if he was playing wide, great. If he was playing up front, not so much. But he's not a first choice for us. The fact we're bringing players like that in as backup, I think, is very exciting. We are over our wage budget now, and we can just about bring that back under control by moving the transfer budget. I'm not going to do that just yet because I don't mind going a bit more over for the right player. Looking at the team report, I don't know. I think we're about there. I could take another centre back if one was offered to me. With the incoming high caliber players and James Robinson just charging forward, doing a full-on Mick Powell this summer. He's now a 4-star player who's in the media Dream 11. I'll show you that in a second. So he's just getting better and better all the time. And it's kind of driving some of these star ratings down. I don't for a second think O'Rourke is going to be a 2.5-star player in this league. But for now, he is. And it does push everybody down a little bit. But I think with Gentry, Ismailoff in midfield, Lindley and Claudivanio, Padilla's still there as well. I think our midfield is probably okay now. If we can find a really, really top-tier centre-back, I'll take them. If not, we'll just work within budget, which will be a little bit of a weird one. I promised as well to show you the media predictions. So if we go to the season preview, the media looking at a 9th place finish for us. So then, I mean, the media are thinking we're going to be in the playoff mix. Oh, he's not. I promise you, last time I looked, Robinson was up front in the Dream 11. He's not there now. Should have turned the camera on at that point. He's way down there you go. There he is as our best player. But he was in that Dream 11 previously. But I think the media think we're going to challenge for the playoffs. Does make me think we've got an outside chance of automatic promotion because we usually way overperform the media prediction, and they're not normally this generous with their predictions for us either. It looks like there's a few teams that are kind of going to be, I mean, New York Academy and New York 2 in the same league. 2 different Salt Lake City Academy, Salt Lake City Monarchs. They're surely sharing the same player pool. That academy and B team, that academy and whatever that means. I guess they're the B team as well. Is there anyone else who's doing that? Is it just those 2? We've got Loudoun United and the DC United Academy. There you go. There's another example of it. They're going to be sharing the same player pool, presumably. We've done the loans. You know, we like to do loans towards the end of a transfer window. Firstly, the outs, Jesse Cabba. I don't even know who he is. He came for our youth team. He's never going to play for us. He's not relevant. The relevant one is Chris Martin, who we were paying £800 a week to. He's gone on loan to San Diego in this division on £800 a week. And we were able to loan him out because we've brought in 3 new defenders, all on loan, all not paying a penny towards them. Daryl Glover is an 18-year-old right back / centre back, 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential from New York City on loan until the end of the season, not costing us a penny. We've also got Alder Gutierrez, who's a 20-year-old American former under-19 international, 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. He's in on loan from Minnesota till the end of the season for nothing. And then we also have Tim Mitchell, who's under 20, current international, 18 years old, on loan from Charlotte till the end of the season for nothing. He can play left back or centre back, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential. They're all the best in their position as they come in. And he's another one who's formerly of New York City. Charlotte paid £1.2 million for him earlier this summer and then loaned him out to the season to us for nothing. So we've got 3 very good defenders who've come in there now. Unfortunately, there's always a cloud to my silver lining, and injuries have just been an absolute nightmare. I'm very glad we got a new goalkeeper in. I can't believe we've had to use him as soon as we have. But Johnny Walker, who's been pretty much ever present since signing at the start of our time in the Football League, has what's his actual injury? Something to do with his back, a torn back muscle, and he's going to miss the first 2 to 3 months of the season. New boy Andrei Ismailov, who would have been in the team in one of these positions, he's torn his knee ligaments. He's going to be out for 3 months as well. McJanet is injured. New boy right back Ruiz is injured. Robinson has just recovered from injury. We've got Vakalenko is suspended. There's other injuries around about the place as well. We're not having a lot of luck with injuries. We actually hired a club doctor this summer for the first time. We perhaps need to upgrade the physios to get them up to the level of some of our other off-the-field stuff. You can see that through a little bit of gentle upgrading of the off-field stuff, we now have pretty much the best coaching setup in League One, pretty much the best scouting setup in League One. We just need to improve our medical stuff. We'll work on that over the course of the season as well. And all of that means this is what our team is likely to look like for the start of the new season. You can see the 3 new boys joining De La Fuente at the back, a new boy in goal as well, a new boy in midfield, and a very familiar look to the front 4. The team report shows that we've got good strength in depth throughout the team. It would be nice to bring in a left winger. If we can find another left winger, that would be ideal. I don't want to have to rely on Aguilar at any point this season. In fact, it's probably, we'll take a couple more young trialists. It's probably worth having a look to see if there's a left winger available for us to loan in. We're allowed 6 loans in our matchday squad, so we can probably squeeze one more in. Emmanuel Melendrez is, I mean, he's a defensive winger there. But look how quick he potentially, I mean, I don't see any reason why he couldn't play there. It says he's natural there. He's not very well scouted. If he's free, we'll take him. We're not going to pay £1.5 a week without fully scouting him. Preston Brown, how about you? So you can play up front or on that left-hand side. This might be a bit more like it anyway. £600 a week. Are you fully scouted? You're not. We need to scout you a little bit more before making a decision about you. So yeah, there's no one who can immediately come in, but we'll potentially fill that gap before the end of the transfer window. Let's have a look to see what the media think about our summer business. They've now got us up to 7th place on their prediction. Chicago Academy, who came up behind us, are second favourites. So I think that tells you a lot about how good we're likely to be. They finished second in League Two last year. We finished first by a mile, and Chicago expected to go straight up again as champions. I'm not sure why they're considered as good as they are, unless they've just had a lot of very good players thrown at them. But either way, we're looking for promotion. I want to go back to back for the first time since those first couple of seasons. It feels like this is a team that's capable of doing it. We'll find out in the next episode, which is not tomorrow. I mentioned this in the home video that came out earlier today. We are now on the summer schedule. So for the next 6 weeks, we're just going to be doing 1 video a day here on the channel. I probably should have led with this, but you know what? You should watch to the end of the videos. But 4 o'clock every day, it'll rotate between home and Bourne. Tomorrow's going to be home. So your next Bourne episode, the first couple of games of the new season, will be on Wednesday, and it'll rotate like that throughout the 6 weeks of the summer holidays. There's a chance home finishes early, because we're there or thereabouts with home. So if home finishes during those 6 weeks, we'll obviously go back to daily on this series again and just carry on doing 1 episode a day of something throughout the summer holidays. So I'll see you back here 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Although I expect most of you will probably be watching home at 4 o'clock tomorrow as well. If you've enjoyed that though, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much for watching.